Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. Today we have a special treat for music and storytelling fans alike. Joining us is the incredibly talented singer and songwriter Victoria Shaw, known for her hits that have touched hearts around the globe. Victoria is here to give us an insider's look at her upcoming show at Birdland, Under the Covers, happening on March 18th. This unique performance promises to unveil the stories behind the songs, offering a rare glimpse into the creative process of one of the industry's most respected songwriters. So tune in as we explore Victoria's illustrious career, her approach to songwriting, and what fans can expect from the much anticipated show. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast over at thetvdudes.com. Engage with us in the comments, and for those that want to support further, you can check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/tvdudes. I had a great time chatting with Victoria, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So let's go.
This is Victoria. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to do it and happy to promote the Birdland show.
Oh, yeah. So you've got the Birdland show coming up, Under the Covers, Monday, March 18th. I know you've also got Songwriters Under the Covers that you do on allarts.org. Is the live show similar to that? Can you talk a little bit about what folks are in for when they come to the show?
Absolutely. And the answer to your question, is it the same as my All Arts show? Very much so. Although tonight, Monday night would be a little bit special because it's all piano oriented, kind of like Ring Around the Piano. But the feel of it, the spontaneity of it, and all these wonderful songs coming out of it and the stories behind it is exactly what I do on my TV show that I've been doing in my live shows for 18 years now at Birdland. It's I love to have a mixture of, maybe country songwriters or jazz songwriters or Broadway stars that are songwriters and or up and coming songwriters you never know, but you'll hear hits, you'll hear new songs, you'll hear all the stories behind it, and you'll laugh. It's really a lot of fun.
That's so cool.
It's fun.
In terms of songwriting for you, did those genres, do they feel different for you when you were first starting out and getting into music and sitting down to write a song? Were you surprised to find that, I guess I write country songs, or I guess I write this kind of song? Or does music just feel like music?
Well, I was extremely surprised that I wrote country songs because I grew up, born in New York and raised in LA. So it wasn't like I had this background. But as I grew older and I started to write my own stuff, all of a sudden, and started to listen to country, that's what started coming out. I wasn't brought up on country music, although I watched T-Hawk growing up. So I guess I had more of a background than I thought because there were certain things I was like, I know that song. But the whole country genre and learning the history of it was just something I fell into. And I think part of it is because I was raised on all sorts of music, obviously the standards and all that stuff, but also all the great songwriters of the 70s, Paul Simon and Billy Joel and Carly Simon and James Taylor and Carole King, all of that, now when you think of some of the stuff they were doing, especially Carole King and James Taylor, that would really be classified as country,
Yeah.
So I think I kind of got the bug for, that kind of songwriting from them.
In terms of writing to someone's voice, what is that process like for you? Do you often know beforehand who might be singing a song that you wrote, or are they just written and then you find out later, so and so likes it?
A little bit of both, but I've had success both ways. With Garth Brooks, we write together, so we're obviously writing for Garth Brooks, and that makes it a little more easy to focus on how we're getting there. Some of the other hits, I guess most of the other hits I've had, just were born as songs and then found their rightful owners, which is kind of cool. That's what a publisher's job is to kind of rent those songs, get them out, and see who likes them and feels like it would fit their project. In the terms of a song I wrote, a duet called Nobody Wants to Be Lonely, which was a duet with Ricky Martin and Christina Aguilera, I wrote that, co-wrote that with a writer named Gary Burr and Desmond Child, and Desmond also was Ricky Martin's producer. So even though I wasn't with, we knew we were focusing on Ricky Martin at the time. So it kind of, I write all different ways, all different genres. To me, it makes it a lot more fun and interesting and never gets stale,
Growing up, I also watched Hee Haw. I feel like we got a concentrated dose of country in that. But
yes.
I worked at a scout camp in high school, a Boy Scout camp, and though absolutely none of us were hired on our singing ability or even asked about it in the interview process, the guy who ran the camp loved to play acoustic guitar and made us all learn the river to sing the very first night that people dropped off their kids. And I cannot imagine what these parents thought of these. I mean, we were like 14, 15-year-old, hoodlum kids who were running this camp singing the river.
That is so sweet. And I just have to say, it's weird. I've actually been told that several times from guys that they learn that at their camp. Like, I can't tell you how touching that is. It's
That's
really
so
like,
odd. I feel better knowing that we weren't the only
sweet.
camp. Yeah, it wasn't just we weren't the only place. Steve wasn't the only one who made us all learn that.
That's so funny.
Have you had a strangest place where you've walked into a store and gone, "Is this a version of my song?"
I can't think of the place, but there's been times where I'm busy. I'm in a store, I'm in an elevator. I'm not thinking about anything music-wise, but something comes on, and I'm like, why do I know that song? Oh, wait, that's mine. Especially when it's Muzak, because it kind of changes, the song a little bit, or doesn't sound exactly like the song So I've done that once or twice where I'm like, what is that song? Oh, that's my song. Okay, that's cool.
That's kind of a jam. I wonder who wrote that. Oh.
Well, it's funny that you said that too, because one time my daughter, when she was, I don't know, 15 or probably 12 or 13, whatever, she loved to go through my computer and listen to songs, and she was just always listening to music, not just mine, but everybody's. And she came in one day. We just talked about this the other day. She came into my room and she goes, "Hey, whose song is that goes whatever?" She sings this song, and I said, "Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. Who does that? Whose song is that?" And then all of a sudden I go, "Wait a second, I wrote that." I just hadn't heard it in years. So we always laugh because it didn't just come off like, "Oh, yeah, I wrote that." I hadn't heard it in so long. I have to remind myself that I wrote that song.
I guess that would make sense. There's always a moment with art, whether it's painting or writing or anything, where you kind of put it out there for the audience, and it's, as the years go by, it's that moment in time. It's that thing. It doesn't always feel necessarily tied to you.
And honestly, with this song that she had brought up was a good song, but it hadn't been cut. So that's why I hadn't heard it in years. The songs that I hear on the radio or I still do in performing, that's at the top of my head, but I've written a lot of songs. So sometimes it doesn't just come back to me so fast.
When you were a kid getting into music, was there I assume there's got to be a difference in what you thought a music career looked like or making it looked like, and then all the complicated realities of all the different ways that you can be a professional musician. I know when I was a kid, I just kind of pictured, you made it onto a late night show playing, or a big tour. You were a band. You were the Beatles. You made it. And now I talk to folks that are like, yeah, I didn't even know I could compose for commercials, and that's my full-time job. Was there a moment where you kind of realized that a music career was going to be different than you thought it would look?
Absolutely. I just wanted to be a singer. I dabbled in songwriting since I was 12, but that was just a hobby, and that's not something that I did all the time. So I was going to be a recording artist, and I was going to be a big star. But when I fell in love with country music and I started coming down to Nashville, I saw all this songwriting, and I wanted to be part of that community. It was like an epiphany where I thought, first of all, that's a good way to get noticed, is to write hit songs for other people. I didn't even realize that people, most people, that's not in the music business thinks everybody who sings the song wrote the song. I did. And then when I came, started to get older and I came down to Nashville, and I was like, wow, these songs were written by these guys, but recorded by these people. So I want to do that. And then I want to get a record deal, which I did eventually on Warner Brothers, which was great. And I got to travel and do all that stuff. But the thing that really popped off for me was my songwriting. that's how I got known, by writing hit songs. And when I decided not to pursue, a recording career, a major recording career anymore, because I wanted to have kids, I just kept being that songwriter. So yes, a door opened that I didn't ever expect growing up when I was fantasizing about the music business. I didn't realize you could be a professional songwriter.
When it comes to putting together a song, I've always kind of wondered how it works for different people. I've talked to writers who plan out everything with an outline and a structure, and then I've met folks that just seat of their pants, you know, kick it off at the start and finish the book. I know for me, it's always been interesting to get a little bit nerdy about how songwriting works. When I talk to folks that play at, Kerrville Folk Festival or, kind of Texas country stuff, it's always so neat to me. They're like, no, this bridge and this chorus, and we're going to repeat this and, this hook. Did you ever find yourself kind of starting to get into that? Is that how songwriting feels for you? Or is it more just grab the guitar, sit down at the piano, knock it out?
There's a certain kind of outline when it comes to songs. Oh, well, it depends on the genre. But in general, it's the don't bore us, get to the chorus. You want to have a good verse, but if it goes on and on and on, it can really, for me, bore the audience. So you want to have a good verse. You want to say whatever you want to say in a timely fashion, and then you want to get to the chorus, but you don't want the chorus to be too long. You don't want it to be too short. There's a few quote unquote rules, and every rule is broken. I can give you a million
right.
Examples, even by me. But in general, there's kind of a map to how a song should be, to look at the end. But there is no roadmap as to how you get there. I sit down with, so many times. Most times, I don't really have an idea in my head. I come in and talk for a while, and we just kind of feel what's in the room. And this drives some of my co-writers crazy, because I'll say, well, let's not worry about the title. Let's just start with a really cool opening line. And people who know me go, okay. People who don't are like, wait. We don't have a hook line. We don't know what the title is. No, I just want an opening line that sucks everybody in to lean in to know the second line. I like to write kind of different, but at the end of the day, it's however you get to that place. I know people that take a month to work on a song and tweak the song and rewrite the song, and that's cool because they ended up with a hit song. I would probably throw myself out a window if I had to repeat songs and work on a song for a month. Especially in Nashville, we're kind of quick writers. Not that there's anything wrong with being a slow writer, but Nashville usually, turns out the song within the day. And I had a lot of hit songs that I wrote, under 4 hours. Not that we have to. It just kind of flows. When it comes, it comes. And when it doesn't, you go to lunch.
Yeah, I remember the first time I ever heard about like brill building type songwriting, the kind of like you were saying, that moment where you realize that George Strait might not have written every single one of those songs,
Mm-hmm.
and that there were people that put their work clothes on, went down to the office, and wrote a hit song. I always thought that was so fascinating that I had never considered that as part of how that all worked, but of course it is.
Well, I mean, like I said, you can sit around, smoke a joint, and write a cool song at 3 a.m. with your buddies, and it turns out to be a hit song. Or in Nashville, I would say it's very much like the old brill building way, where you make an appointment. Most people are writing 10 to 5. They take it seriously as a job, but it happens to be a job that's really freaking cool just because it's so fun. It's still a job though, because if you don't do it correctly, your family doesn't eat. You know what I mean? But how fortunate and, blessed I feel that I can do something that, is usually pretty damn fun. And then thankfully it turns into commerce, because otherwise I can't feed my kids,
Right.
So it is interesting. And I would say Nashville's kind of like I said, 10 to 5, and probably I used to, I don't do it anymore, but 5 days a week, writing a new song. But again, if you want to write it at 3 a.m, and you feel inspired, which I know quite a lot of friends in New York and LA who do that, that's cool. Just don't call me because I will be sleeping.
Yeah, I am not a night owl. I agree.
Yeah. I am not. Creative past like 5 p.m.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're gonna get me sharpest earlier. Uh,
Right.
that's great. Yeah, by my desk I have a whole set of quotes that are all basically just sit your butt down and write or work on your thing. Uh, Inspirations for amateurs. The rest of us just show up, which is a little harsh. I don't think that's entirely true, but I've always kind of liked that idea.
Yeah, I do too. I actually do too, because I know some people, recording artists or more recording artists, who maybe wasn't the best singer, maybe it wasn't the most handsome, or whatever, maybe it wasn't the most whatever, but they worked harder than anybody, had more drive than anybody, was more persistent, and ended up exploding into superstardom, and they deserved it. You know what I mean? Because, like you say, you got to show up.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you first hit that professional level of any kind of creative career, you're going to suddenly be in a room where everybody's got raw talent. Everybody that's made it this far was the best singer, best writer, whatever in their high school.
Right.
and then from here, it's who can motivate themselves and keep it going, and that's a different trick. I'm so impressed with your career and the amount of songs. Just the steady work of it is so impressive to me. I was really excited to get to talk to you. I think it's so cool.
That's so nice. Thank you so much. I'm happy to talk to you.
Do you have a favorite song that you're going to break out or get to tell the story of, or a favorite guest that is going to tell a cool story for the folks at Birdland?
Well, I mean, a lot of people come to Birdland because they would like to hear the Garth Brooks, The River, or She's Every Woman, or something like that. And I even though I do it every show pretty much, it's because I think it would be rude if people are coming to hear the hits that they know I've written, not to do them. So I definitely tell the story behind writing those songs, and then I'll do some new stuff. Or I do a song that I wrote with Bette Midler that hasn't been out yet, but I love telling the backstory on that song. And Peter Sincati, who is one of my guests, is a brilliant musician, songwriter, singer, platinum selling artist, and he's unbelievable. So he'll do his songs, and we're going to try some new songs that we've written together for a project that we're doing. And I've got lots of talented people dropping by. It's really going to be a fun night. I hope people come out.
Yeah, it sounds like a blast. Thank you so much.
You know what it's like?
Go ahead.
It's a party. I'm sorry. I don't have a show. I always have a party. People feel like they were in my living room. It's very spontaneous, nothing scripted, really fun, really funny. And you never know who shows up in the audience. Or jumps up on stage sometimes. I've had, Bette Midler's come to the show, John Bon Jovi, who else? Oh, Kristen Chenoweth, who I usually pull up and, make her sing if she's there. You just never know who's in the audience, but, and who might be jumping up on stage. It's really fun.
That's so cool. All right, folks really should check that out. All right, Monday, March 18th. Everybody's got to get down to Birdland.
In New York City.
Yeah, in New York City. That sounds great. If you can't, Songwriters Under the Covers, you can check it out on allarts.org or local listings. Download the app and go watch that.
I hope people check that out on the app. If you're streaming it on Roku or Apple TV, or like you said, you can go to allarts.org if you want to watch it on your computer. But those are my songwriter shows where you'll see everybody from Garth Brooks, Tommy Shaw of Styx, Keb Mo, Kevin Cronin of REO Speedwagon, Desmond Child, who wrote Live in La Vida Loca, and like all the Bon Jovi hits, Living on a Prayer. It's a really fun mixture of songwriters who tell these great stories. And I'm so proud of this show. So I do hope people check that out too.
I always love that stuff. I grew up on the VH1 storytellers, behind the music kind of era. And it's just always so cool to hear these stories behind, the song means one thing to you or to me. And it means a different thing to the songwriter. And I'm sure it means a different thing to the person that maybe didn't write it, but now has this indelible connection to it.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's really neat.
Yeah, it becomes their song. It really does, in a good way, becomes synonymous with them. It's good for the songwriter. It's great for the artist. It's wonderful. I people can't tell you how many times people have said to me, it's like, are you sad that you didn't hold those songs for yourself and record them? And my answer is, first of all, there's no guarantee I would have had the hit with them. And also, it's such a compliment when an artist who has their career on the line picks one of your songs because they feel like that's going to help elevate them even more. I mean, to me, that's an incredible compliment.
I don't think I'd ever really thought of it that way, but you're right. That's a huge risk for them. There's no reason for them to, there's no favor there. It's their career.
Nope.
And it really means a lot for them to go, God, those words are so good. I wish I was just saying them. I'm like, well,
yep, exactly. So it's hard to get those cuts, and so it's a real big deal when you do. It's a wonderful thing.
You had mentioned Carole King earlier, and I think she's one that a lot of people always think about in that regard of, the Tapestry album versus other songs she wrote for other folks, and which are on her album and versus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's really a better way to think of it that, like you said earlier, eventually some of these songs found their exact right home.
Right, and remember, she was a hit songwriter before she decided to finally launch her solo career. So she had the best of both worlds too, which is phenomenal. And trust me, she still loves when people cut a song of hers, But she was such a hit songwriter before, and then was able to transition into artist. It's a wonderful thing.
Have you ever had a person that you've sang with and thought, oh my God, our voices blend? Are we related? That James Taylor, Carole King. My gosh, how do you sing this?
Well, both my daughters are professional singers, so I have to say them. Who will be at my show as well? Because if we don't blend well, I don't know who does. And they're both unbelievable performers on their own right. Matter of fact, my daughter Ava is going to be doing a show at Birdland the following month. So when they come up and sing, it's pretty tight. It's pretty spiritual. I can't lie there, but I think that's my favorite. Those are my favorite co-singers.
Well, that makes sense. You're a little bit biased. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
I promise you, if you come to the show, you'll agree.
Well, we'll have to check it all out.
Thank you for.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I keep talking over you. I'm so sorry.
I do too. I'm sorry. I'm just excited.
No, the podcast thing is new to me. So, as far as doing a podcast. So I've had a wonderful time speaking to you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity to talk about the Birdland show. I really do hope people come and check it out, because they will just have a wonderful evening. And it's early, 7 p.m. So to me, that's the best.
Yeah, as I'm getting older, I love shows that start earlier.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day.
So thank you.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.